get down. Yeah, he's coming this way. He's a big buck, dude.
I wish I could have saw him. Just curious if y'all make some noise.
Yeah.
Grunt or something. Back off a little bit. I don't know. I see something up there walking.
Okay.
With his tail up. Moving to the right.
Right.
You're there.
Yeah, down here. What?
That's what I thought I heard a while ago.
Sound like it was down that bottom. Is that a buck grunt?
Yeah.
Should we run down there?
I don't know right now.
Let's look down. Alright, folks. We're walking in. Long story short, walking in. Talked to a guy in the parking lot that hunts in here. Saw big bucks in here. We know there's big bucks in here. Sure enough, Warp and I are walking down this road. I look up and there's a buck chasing a doe in front of us, and he looks big. We just heard like, that's the third grunt in a row coming from down there, so we're gonna sneak down this trail. Loud run. It's just kind of drop, and it's not really doing anything. We're just gonna have to sneak, try to keep cover in our favor. I wondered if he would sleep if he did that, because that's what last I saw him, he's cornered to us. He might have just went right down past us. Right. Should we just keep moving up in there? I think we should go towards that ground, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. This is awesome. I'll just hit him right back with this medicine here. Hear that? So I moved up where we heard that grunt. I think the buck might have circled down below us, but we called. Nothing's came in here, but we still haven't spooked a deer on this ridge. And then buck that we saw this morning, he was right on the trail that night and Greg and I walked in on. So we're definitely not blowing him out of here. There's tons of deer sign. And we finally confirmed that there is a big buck in here. It took 3 days, but now we know. I think the deer are probably using this side more than we originally thought, but we continue to formulate a game plan and hopefully find this thing again, either this morning or sometime tonight. I mean, they did kill up there, dude. We're standing here right by where we saw the buck. This is where he was. And that tree down there, that white tree, is where we were. It's foggy. And we were just kind of tucked behind the grass, and he was facing this way. When we tucked down, the last thing we saw was deer tails kind of moving up this way. You could just see flashes of light up through there. But Aaron and I are looking at this right here. It's like kind of right in the middle of the big bowl on the ridge. And that's where those deer were going. And all the sign seems to be coming from that general vicinity. All the big buck sign at least. And all the big fresh buck sign is kind of all right here and dispersing. But I think what we've been getting wrong is that these deer are just spending all their time in the edge of this clear cut or in the middle of the clear cut. This intersection of logging roads right here. This goes up and around. And obviously this one we're on is a really good spot just to catch them moving down the path of least resistance in here. We may set up at some point right in these beech trees. There's a bunch of green and yellow leaves and like it just creates a wall. I don't think they're gonna see us if we're in there, but there's a south wind forecasted, and then, you know, the thermals would eventually probably drop off that way, but it seems like the spot to be. I mean, all the deer that we're seeing in this ridge are like right in here, but it seems like specifically the big buck sign seems to be from that spot, and I'm wondering if he didn't take her up there. That's the thing, is there's just oaks everywhere in this clear cut, and there's a plethora of food for them, and just the fact that, you know, there's like the rose, the goldenrod, all that type of stuff that they can just pick around on all day. They can also go up here 100 yards or 50 yards for that matter, bed under an oak. They may be there right now, and they can just hang out all day, eat acorns, browse. No reason to leave. You know, I'm kind of thinking about doing something else, and then coming back in here later this afternoon, because I don't really want the day winds to pick up and kind of go up through there and blow that deer out of there, or any of the other deer for that matter. But I don't know. I feel confident that when the deer really start moving again, that we can make moves on them through this stuff too. You know, these logging roads are dead quiet, so I don't know. Trying to put a plan together has been fun, or figuring out where they're at. Maybe by accident, but we are. So, you know, we often get the question, how do we pick spots when we go to new areas or new states to hunt public land? And this right here is a good example of a transition line that we came in targeting and scouted. When we've scouted, we walked to the other side where that big timber, you know, the bigger trees with the green and yellow color meets up with that brown transition, and it kind of gets thick and some taller grass, marshy area in there. And we walk that transition looking for sign, and that ultimately puts us closer to where the deer are. We saw some scrapes down there which are telling us there's deer in the area. From there we just keep trying to pick out the best bedding locations, but this is how we picked this spot originally on the map. We've got marsh down here in the bottom, a little field, you know, some habitat break, and up there you got the clear cut. Ultimately we ended up at the clear cut by following the sign, but, you know, targeting these transition areas is what we're looking for. And then you get here and there's oaks dropping, acorns everywhere, and that's always a good sign too. You just got to get out there and start walking the edges, though. That's the best place to start, is pick an area with high diversity, walk transition lines. Let's go see what that scrape looks like.
Looks like somebody had some luck this morning.
I don't see any more. I wonder if he was dragging. Oh, he was dragging. Sure as shoot. Dragging it right here. You can see body trail. I thought it was a blood trail.
Yeah, he drug it
right up here.
Drug it. It's doe season here in PA.
Yeah, doe and bear for muzzleloader. And somebody got one. I'd say it's Josh, the guy we talked to this morning.
Where the heck did he go? Oh, there he is. Jeez, we almost ran him over. Look at this thing.
I don't think he's thinking about. It's like a modern day dino.
All right, tell us what we're doing. So we got this swamp here that's a little bit more, you can see the transition's a little bit easier on a map, well, obviously than the hill country. So we're going to walk this transition edge. Hopefully it looks like cattails, just thick crap out there. We haven't quite seen it yet, but we want to find where the oaks are dropping and the deer coming up into the oaks. So I think we got to keep working our way that way. I don't see any oaks up in here. So that's what we're going to do. And hopefully we can get us some sign. There's really no sign in here yet, but without there being food, I don't really expect it.
Yeah, you can hardly come out here without at least experience in the swamps, right?
Right, yep.
Gotta try it all.
So we switched it up from the hills. This is actually almost a 2-hour car ride, but that's fine. Let's try something different. Who knows, maybe this is where the big boys are at. Obviously they're in the hills too, but try something different.
Smell something? Looks like we got supper. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah,
Put up a campfire,
doesn't smell like supper.
cook some steaks. Looks like the back straps are still there.
There you go.
Wonder what got that, huh? Looks like an adult doe.
Yeah. So we cruised this whole swamp edge, checking the transition line for any deer coming out, and I don't think we saw a sign really of any deer coming out. I mean, there's that dead one back there. And now we're at this, you can see the island in the background. There was one on the map that was getting our attention, and it looks like complete hell to get through just because it would be so thick. The problem that we're running into is we're burning so much time. The amount of deer is so little that we're burning so much time in all these different spots checking them out. So we're going to dip out of the swamp here, get out here, and probably get back up in some hills, because obviously that's where the deer were. They're not down in here like we were hoping. So
I think it would take us probably an hour to get out to the island,
Oh, yeah.
half an hour to scout, an hour to get back here.
Yep.
And this is the point leading to the island. If you look around, there's buck sign, but it's all historical. I don't see anything fresh.
Yep.
I think there's a good chance to get out there. There's nothing.
Yep. There's nothing for sign in here this year. The ladder stand right there, so if there is anything, that deer, they might be harassed out of here. So we got to quit wasting time and get back in the vehicle.
Alright, it's like 4:53. We're going back in. I've been being patient because just thinking maybe if the shadows hit this hillside, it'd start to bring the thermals down a little bit. And that's kind of the case now. Get some shadow here slipping in, and we're going to try to get right up to where we planned on going earlier this morning. Today, earlier, we went and checked out a different area for potential plan B. Saw a good deer feeding sign, but didn't see a ton of fresh big buck sign. We also saw a bunch of pheasants. That was pretty hilarious. There was a guy driving out as we were walking in, and we were like, "See anything?" And he's like, "I'm just letting pheasants go." So we just walked up through there and just saw a ton of pheasants. They were like just standing up on the roads calling to each other. We'd see groups of 5, 6, flush them, and then, you know, they'd move up in front of us and we'd flush them again. Pretty hilarious, but...
There's a chipmunk.
Where? On that log?
Right there, in the middle of the road.
Oh yeah, they're coming right at us.
Coming right at us.
Sit still, don't move.
I'm not gonna move.
Oh,
Oh, oh. He might have been detected. Yep. Into the den he goes.
I don't know. I feel good about being a little more aggressive. I feel a little more aggressive tonight. We're getting into this thicket. It's where all the deer seem to be. It's where, when we see them, it's where they're at. So you can go get in there, and hopefully the wind's doing right and going down towards the water, and hopefully he's above us. In theory, it should work. Let's hunt him.
We're driving in here into this axis area, and we saw a bunch of apple trees here, and Joe saw a scrape under one of the apple trees, so we thought on our way back out we'd check it out, and then we saw some big rubs here. I mean, look at this. We're literally, there's a big track too. Look at that. That's a pretty good track. We got big rub here, another one in the background. That's pretty high up. So I see all these oak trees here in the little shelf, and I like the fact that it's right alongside the road. Maybe it's overlooked. We'll take a look at it. Maybe we can do something here. What do you think, Joe?
Give her a look. Let's see.
I wonder if he's coming from across the road. Keeps easing that way. So we found rubs over by the apple trees, and we followed the rub line. It was pretty heavy all the way to the road. And then we crossed the road, figuring he's bedding up ahead. As soon as we stepped off the road, we were probably 50 feet from the road. A nice buck jumped up right here, bedded 75 yards from the road, and then just took a couple hops and walked off. How do you think we should handle this, Joe?
We got to figure out what the wind is doing.
It's pretty shifty. It's swirling.
It is, and we got to get off to one side or the other. I think we need to get really high to get the wind a little more constant over this stuff and get set up. But yeah, the road. See the road behind me?
I think I'd like to just slide to the other side of this and set up. I don't think he's going to come back right now, but I think he is this evening.
At dark, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Let's just back out for now. Let him go calm down. And go find another setup and see if we can find something else and just keep this in mind.
Okay.
But I think you're right. This is a good spot to set up. He was just sitting here bedded right under the acorns.
Yeah. And if you look in the back, there you don't really see much for oaks in the back. It's maybe hard to see on camera,
Yeah,
but right in the front there are. So right.
The one that keeps dropping is right underneath
Yeah.
it.
He's gonna want to come back to that. That's like a bait pile to him.
Yeah, I think he's got to be used to people walking down the road.
Yeah, and he don't know if we're just walkers or what we are. So
Yeah, let's just slip out for now. But I like this. The road's right over there. That rub line goes from those apple trees through these trees like this, around across the road. That oak tree, not that one, but the next one over. That buck was bedded right underneath it. When we walked into the trees, he got up 25 yards from the road, if that. And he just walked through here and walked off that way. I set up right here. There was one trail coming through here. But there really isn't a lot of sign over here. The sign goes from the bed to across the street. But I think he's not going to leave his does alone. There's a whole bunch of does bedding just down in really thick cover. Going over to those apple trees and clover that's growing over there around him. I think that buck's going to come slipping back through here at dark. At least that's what I'm hoping. Joe was going to film for me. He had these sad puppy-looking eyes. So I told him to go sit over there in case the buck slips around that way. The wind's a little squirrely right now, but I'm hoping that as it gets darker, the thermals drop down to the hole. And I think that's why that buck's bedding there, is it's a little bowl. And it's getting some swirling effect. But as it gets later, everything is going to drop to there with thermals. At least that's what I'm hoping. I did notice when I was getting up the tree that some blue jays were making racket over there. So hopefully we didn't spook them out of here, but we were really, really quiet about setting up in here.
Wonder if he wasn't bedded here with that doe. Yeah, it seems like maybe that's where the deer were bedded this morning. We're in here. I think everything went as we planned. Sun's just now starting to go down on this hillside, creating a shadow over here, kind of pulling the thermals down. The wind was forecasted to be coming this way, but kind of feel it going this way. I think the buck's probably up higher. That's where the deer are probably bedding. on the other side of the ridge, so hopefully we see something here. Our cover's pretty good. Got all these beech leaves behind us, horizontal, vertical cover in here. We're just kind of tucked in the shadows back here, but I think the only way anything would ever see us is if it gets right here at like 5 yards, but we may still be able to pull it off if we're playing our cards right. Pretty low on my deer, but we only just heard one deer go behind us. Heard it walk down through here. Weather wasn't great. We weren't expecting great movement, but definitely feel like we're right around him here. We know we are. The buck was literally standing right here this morning. We have to just keep adjusting, 2 days from now we got really good weather. Maybe tomorrow will be better movement than today, but we're gonna be back. No use quitting now. We're on him. Hopefully somebody else got on something.
So the buck never came back, but when we're coming out, there was a doe bedded in his scrape just after dark as we got to the truck, which is just walking off across the street. So I think she was waiting for him. She was sitting there saying, "Why is he late?" So I think Joe wants to give him a try in the morning.
Yeah, slide up in there. There's a little bit lower elevation on the one side of his bed, so get on that side and hope the thermals pull down. That's really the only option I think I've got.
You know what was amazing? Did you check your thermals when we were in the tree? My milkweed, as soon as that thermal drop happened, everything I dropped floated right to the tree where he was bedded.
Well, maybe we'll see what he is in the morning when he's down. And we'll see you back at camp.
Alright, so end of day 4? It's end of day 4. Still no bucks down, but it's gonna be like 75 tomorrow, and then it's supposed to drop like 20 degrees. So looking forward to that. 2 more days? 2 more days of hunting left, so we'll keep going at them strong. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Yeah. Here's a funny thing for those just to picture at home. So we're all standing here in a circle talking, just like this earlier, and all of a sudden I hear this noise. I look in the back corner, and in the dark is Joe just kind of hanging out by himself. And I said, "Joe, are you back there?" And he's like, "Yeah, is that weird?" And I was like, "Kinda."
Well, we were coming back from town, and we had his truck behind us, and he kept getting close, so I kept going faster. And we were telling stories and stuff, so I wasn't really staying on the road real well. And I had a phone call in there, and all of a sudden the lights went on, and pulls me over, and he gets out, and he goes to the back of his vehicle and puts on a bulletproof vest, and yells something about "put your hands out the window." And I was like, okay. So I came over. I guess my vehicle, which is a rental vehicle, didn't have any registration information. And I didn't really think it was important to keep the receipts, so he said I should probably have those if I get pulled over again. And he let me go because I explained to him that I only drove like that because I didn't know he was law enforcement. Yeah, he did give me some tips about deer hunting though. Being a warden, he told me to look for low spots where they bed. So that's what I'll be looking for.